Love that moment. I love being the one to step up, and my teammates trust me a lot of time to make the shot, so I've been doing it all my life.
Jamal Murray of the Nuggets, and you can hear more of that interview during our NBA on ESPN radio coverage of Game 1 starting at 7:30 Eastern tomorrow night. The game also on ABC TV and the ESPN app. First baseball final of the day, the Tigers beat the Rangers 3-2. Jake Marisnick drives in a run. He was just acquired by Detroit in a trade with the White Sox. Andrew Brunette is the new head coach of the Nashville Predators. He takes over for John Hines. At the French Open, among the second-round winners today, American women Jessica Pegula, Sloane Stephens, and Peyton Stearns.
Coming up Thursday, Eric Spoelstra will go down as one of the greatest coaches to ever do it. But does he have the edge against Michael Malone? Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And welcome in to a Wednesday edition of After Further Review. Musso in for Moscona. Of course, Scone still on vacation. He will be back on Monday. But I'm hanging out with you here. Grant Lanero, Paul O'Neill along for the ride as well. We have a lot to get to today. A lot of football to talk about today. A couple different LSU football segments. The Saints, talk Saints quarterbacks today. Derek Carr and Jameis Winston as the Saints backup met with the media yesterday, post OTA practice, and had some interesting things to say about his role, his level of buy-in, and just his journey to this point. Jameis, still very fascinating. Just his story, ever since he left Tampa, came to New Orleans, has been very fascinating. It continues to be through the way last season went for him in the offseason. So plenty to say about that as well. And then Derek Carr, he's kind of in the news cycle a little bit today. So we'll touch on that as well. Again, like I said, plenty of baseball. We'll talk about, yesterday talked about how the starting rotation, how I think that might shake out for this weekend for LSU. We told you probably what I would do if it were me, Thatcher Hurd, Paul Skeens, Ty Floyd. Today, I want to talk more about the LSU bullpen, how that shakes out, how that sets up for this weekend. We'll do that at 4:15. And then we'll head up to Corvallis at 5:15 today, talk with Brenden Slaughter of Beaver's Edge, and get a preview of the 2 seed in the Baton Rouge Regional, the Oregon State Beavers. So plenty to get to today here on this Wednesday, and fired up to dive into all of it. But we're going to start with LSU football. So Brian Kelly yesterday was on the Paul Feinbaum show, as these coaches do for SEC spring meetings. They make their rounds. They have a press conference. It's really not that organized of a press conference. It can really just be them speaking to a gathering, a semicircle of reporters, honestly. But then they also, they'll go on some ESPN shows. They'll obviously go on Paul Feinbaum, and Brian Kelly was there, and he talks about a lot of different things that we'll touch on a little bit later in the show that actually pertain to the SEC meetings and the future of the league, like scheduling, like NIL, things of that nature. But the very first question out of Paul Feinbaum's mouth to Brian Kelly yesterday was about expectation heading into year 2 at LSU, right? Think about where they came from. Really, this is kind of a trend on LSU's campus right now. Head coaches in year number 2 having major success. Brian Kelly is no different from that expectation and how it happened so fast. And that's what Paul Feinbaum wanted to know. How are you going to handle those expectations here in just year 2 when people are expecting go win it all?
I knew I came down here with high expectations. So, look, I mean, this is the SEC. Yeah. So you're not coming down here with, the opportunity to hide. There's no hiding down here. So it's what I expected. We still have some work to do, quite frankly. I mean, Georgia, Alabama have been, the staples here, and we've got some work to do, but we're up for the challenge.
So, look, yes, obviously, Georgia, Alabama, they are the staples. 100%. I don't think anybody's disputing that. I think you will hear plenty of people say Alabama, you don't feel as great about them this year than maybe you have in years past. And it's easy to look at LSU as the prohibited favorite in the SEC West, considering they defeated Alabama last year, made it to Atlanta, Georgia for the SEC championship. It's easy to see all of those things, and we'll get into some of them here. But I think what's interesting is how Brian Kelly kind of began that cut when he said, I knew I came down here with high expectations. And I think obviously as a whole, absolutely. Absolutely, as a whole, Brian Kelly, that hire came with high expectations. He was, the second winningest coach to Nick Saban in active college football at that point when LSU brought him in. You had the last three coaches at LSU win national championships. Of course, there's going to be high expectation as a whole. He gets the big 10-year contract. Like, you know you're tied to him for a decade. But I think, obviously, last year, expectations were tempered to start. At least that's how I remember it. Sitting in this studio every day, covering the season, going to Eagle 98.1 pregame show every weekend, covering the season. That way, I remember expectations being a little tempered. Like, okay, you know what? They'll probably get 8 wins. That'll be really good for a first year, considering they're coming off of back-to-back 500 seasons. And now you go into year 2 after winning the SEC West in surprise fashion, getting better as the year went on all along, like LSU did. And the conversation has changed to playoff. And let me be clear, that is a fair expectation for LSU this year. It absolutely is. Like I said, people consider them the prohibited favorite to win the SEC West and get to Atlanta. If they can knock off Georgia, they're in the college football playoff. It is a fair expectation for LSU. But I think we need to look a little deeper. Because, yes, obviously you have Jaden Daniels back and you expect him to take the next step after he already had a great season for you last year. You're not where you were without Jaden Daniels. We all know that. Harold Perkins is back. He burst onto the scene. You expect him to take a bigger role moving inside, and by all accounts, that will go very well. They were quite pleased with what they saw from him in spring in that new position with the new responsibilities. You got some question marks in the secondary, and especially at safety and corner, definitely the back end more so maybe. But you have a lot more options than you did last year at those two positions if you're LSU. And oh, by the way, you get Mason Smith back on the defensive line. So you feel very good about the defense. You love your depth at receiver. The depth at running back just keeps growing. And you had to start young guys on the offensive line that shined last year in Will Campbell and Emory Jones. There's a lot to be excited about. So yes, playoffs a fair expectation. You look at the schedule, it's a fair expectation. It makes a lot of sense. But I want to throw this out there because I saw this earlier. So today, ESPN released their bowl schedule for all 41 bowls. And not only schedule, but, date, time, things of that nature. So Brett McMurphy at the Action Network said, well, what a perfect time for way too early bowl projections. And I couldn't agree more. Who doesn't love bowl projections on May 31st? Obviously, you're well away from college football season started. Actually, you're inside of 100 days. But you still have, 95, however many it is. I don't know the exact count, but you're inside of 100. So there's still time. But knowing what we all just went over, right, where playoff is an expectation for LSU, and I think it's a fair expectation. Many of you think it's a fair expectation. But I think when a lot of us talk about LSU, there's so much excitement around them this year, at least in our bubble here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, or in Southeast Louisiana, wherever you're listening across the state even. There's so much excitement around them here that sometimes it gets harder to temper expectation.
We're going to have a good football team.
So I wanted to look at these projections from outside to see kind of what the expectation is for LSU. I'll tell you, they're not in the college football playoff. Brett McMurphy's college football playoff was Georgia, Washington out of the Pac-10, Michigan, and LSU's opponent week 1, Florida State. Keep that in mind. He had LSU in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, a New Year's Six Bowl against Penn State, and projected LSU by 3 point spread on that game. LSU's floor this year should be a New Year's Six Bowl. LSU's floor should be a New Year's Six Bowl. Like, yes, the college football playoff, fair expectation, but the floor should be a New Year's Six Bowl. You went last year from having minimal expectations, 8-4. That'd be a great year. Maybe they get to 9 wins, and you're very happy. To knocking on the door last year of the college football playoff as a potential the first ever 2-loss team to get in to the college football playoff. If you could have taken care of business of A&M and upset Georgia in the SEC championship, but at worst, at that point, you're thinking they're going to finish 10-2 and get into the New Year's Six Bowl. You were there last year, right on the doorstep, but you end up in the citrus. See, that can't happen again this year. LSU's floor has to be the New Year's Six, with your ceiling being the college football playoff. And Brian Kelly was asked about, so to start that Paul Feinbaum interview, he was asked about expectations, handling the fans' expectations. Later on, he was asked about his own expectations for his team.
We're going to have a good football team. We're going to have to play smart and, all the adages that you've heard many coaches who have sat next to you talk about. We're going to have to stay injury-free, but we've got a quarterback that is developed, and we've got probably confidence now that we can go into games and believe that we can win. Those are really good things to have when you go into a conference like the SEC.
Confidence, another year, a quarterback that's developed, everything we've already mentioned in this segment. But I will tell you what I think has been the most impressive thing that Brian Kelly has built at LSU so far 2 years in, going into his second season. The man hadn't even coached a game in his second season yet, and I'm telling you the most impressive thing that I think that he has built so far at LSU is stability. And that's why for me, floor has to at least be the New Year's Six. You cannot be in the Citrus Bowl or a bowl like that again. You've got too much talent returning on this team. The schedule is manageable for LSU, and more so, yes, the confidence, yes, the talent, yes, the experience, but the stability that Brian Kelly has built so far heading into year 2 in such a short amount of time, that's the biggest thing for me that has me excited, that says, yeah, playoff is a fair expectation for this team. And if they're already projected right now on the cusp of that on May 31st, it's a fair expectation for others around the nation as well. And that is very exciting when it comes to LSU football in 2023. We're going to grab a break, come back on the other side, keep the football conversation rolling, but we're going to head down to Metairie. We're going to talk New Orleans Saints, black and gold, and Derek Carr. Is he too safe of a quarterback? And is that really a negative? We'll do our best to answer that question when we return here on After Further Review. Musso in for Moscona. Don't move.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. So I mentioned this past Saturday we were out by the pool all day. Naturally, we had some friends come over, and you just did a pool day. And naturally, we had to have the outside looking good. So we went to Clegg's. Erica bought a whole bunch of flowers, put them in the patio pots all over the outside, some by the pool, one by the water feature on the pool, all that sort of stuff. We had to get some wasp spray and some wasp nests outside. So naturally got that, of course. Clegg's, partner of True Value Hardware Store. You can get anything that you find at a True Value Hardware Store. You also get at Clegg's. We also got the mosquito barriers that I tell you about all the time. It's so easy. It's called Aeon, AION. Same product I've told you about forever, just new name. Just go to Clegg's and say, where's the mosquito thing Moscona talks about? They'll know. Fill it up with water, shake it up, hang it on your property line, done with mosquitoes for 90 days at a time. You get it all at Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations. Buy local, shop local. Clegg's Nursery.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Let me remind you about Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com, reliefwindows.com. You know, I've talked about Relief Windows now here since 2015, and I love endorsing them and telling you about how great a company they are and great people that Brenden and Adrian Holly are, and every single measure tech and installer that may come to your house, how you can trust them and how they do exceptional work, how they've done work in my house. One thing we never talk about is price. And you know, with Relief Windows, they of course sell a premium product and they do a premium service and a premium job, and it's awesome. But they do offer discounts as well. So I would always encourage you, when you call Relief Windows, to ask about those discounts. Like, for example, if you buy an entry door and windows at the same time, they'll give you a 10% discount. So there's a lot of those things that are there as well. So I would always recommend, when you give Relief Windows a call, ask them. It's always worth giving them a shout at Relief Windows. 288-8138, 288-8138 for Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com.
All right, so obviously, look, we've all talked a lot about Derek Carr, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, he's going to be the Saints starting quarterback this year, and they went out and got him, tabbed him as their free agent, their guy that they want to lead this franchise forward. And there were many opinions for it, many opinions to the contrary of it. I think everyone wants to know. One of the arguments you always heard was, well, where does Derek Carr rank in the NFL? You know, where is he? He's a top 15 quarterback, or wherever is that? He's not. He's not the top 10 guy. He's not this. He's not that. Whatever. That's all opinion. Now, granted, I will start this segment with one of those opinions from an outside source, but we'll take it away from that and focus it a little bit more on the New Orleans Saints. Chris Sims over with Pro Football Talk, does his top 40 NFL quarterbacks. Today, they came to Derek Carr, and Derek Carr was ranked number 18 in the top 40. And this is the explanation why.
Reliable veteran, but safe decision maker who never seems to let it fly. Knows how to play the position. He's got a tight release, right? He can make all the throws, but he's one of those guys that's a little too conservative, doesn't let plays develop down the field all the time and take advantage of what's there to be had. You're like, hey, the pocket's good. Pat the ball one more time. Hit the 20-yard corner route. Don't throw the ball 3 yards in the flat, right? Those are some of the negatives with him there. And then this past year specifically, and again, we're in a tight group here, right? It's nitpicky. He played some of his worst football in big moments, right? I think that was the big thing. Biggest moments, made some really bad decisions, left some plays and points on the field, and I think that was really probably the reason that, you know, the Raiders organization wanted to move on.
Okay, here's my thing. Rank him wherever you want. I don't care. I mean, that does not that doesn't really impact the conversation. It was just really a jumping off point. The conversation, I want to steer more towards something he said in that clip, where he talked about Carr being the experienced veteran that you can count on. Absolutely true. Like, yes, check mark. That's facts. But when he went into saying safe, he's safe. He doesn't. He's still conservative. He doesn't get the ball. He got tight release, quick, can make all the throws, but sometimes just checks down. That doesn't always go for it, and called it a negative. I don't necessarily think that's a negative in the Saints offense. I think history has shown you that. You look at Derek Carr, and last year, Carr threw for 3,500 yards, and everybody's favorite stat these last few years in the NFL, what is it? Air yards. Well, his air yards per completion last year were 6.6 yards. Okay, that's fair. Maybe that's not letting it fly all the way down the field all the time. But you just said in there, he can make all the throws, so he's got that ability. But here's my point where I say I don't think that's a negative in the Saints offense. Look at the last few quarterbacks to play in the Saints offense. Andy Dalton last year. Granted, I understand that wasn't, the set the world on fire offense that any of us really wanted to see from the New Orleans Saints. I get it. Andy Dalton last year, 6.1 air yards per completion. Derek Carr was at 6.6 and threw for more yards, more touchdowns, all of that than Andy Dalton last year. You can look at Jameis Winston, his first year as the New Orleans Saints starting quarterback in 2021. And what was the conversation we all had ad nauseum all offseason about Jameis Winston leading into that year? He's got to protect the football. He has to know when to risk it. He has to know when to protect it. Sean Payton's got to get him ready for that. And we had all the conversations, and Jameis talked about it himself. It's about the decision, right? That's all it's about. It's about the decision. Maybe sometimes the best decision is just to throw the ball away and take and play for the next down. Maybe the best decision is to check the ball down. Maybe the best decision is to go for the gusto down the field. Jameis Winston in 2021, when he was playing so well and the Saints were right at the top of the division competing with Tampa Bay, Jameis Winston in that year in the Saints offense, 6.2 air yards per completion. On the contrary, last year, when Jameis wasn't great, and he's playing hurt, I understand all of that. I'm not discounting that at all. But there were moments where Jameis forced the ball last year. Can we all agree on that? So last year, in his 3 games, where he had more interceptions than touchdowns, 9 air yards per completion for Jameis Winston. Forcing the ball downfield a little bit more. That's not a negative in the Saints offense that Derek Carr is too safe, as Chris Sims said, or is too conservative. Won't let it go. Won't let the 20-yard slant or the 20-yard corner route go down the field. Instead, checks down. The Saints have made a living in this offense with screen passes, with check downs, with slants, all of that. it can go deeper than that with Derek Carr. Oh, he's too safe. Well, in 2020, the COVID year, he had 6.2 air yards per completion. He threw for 4,100 yards. Derek Carr throws 4,100 yards to the New Orleans Saints at only getting the ball down the field an average of 6 yards. Saints are going to have a lot of success offensively. So I don't think that's the negative. And it goes into the whole conversation we had yesterday. It goes into the conversation we've had since Derek Carr was introduced with the Saints. The fit from him coming from Vegas and that offense and how it kind of meshes with the New Orleans Saints offense. This is a whole conversation everyone forced down people's throats at the end of Drew Brees' career, the air yards. And the Saints were still a perennial playoff team. In 2018, they should have won the Super Bowl, but we know what happened in the NFC Championship game. And for what it's worth, in that year, 2018, Drew Brees, 6 air yards per completion. I understand. You can throw it back in my face and say one of the common denominators in Jameis Winston one year and Drew Brees is obviously Sean Payton. And that is 100% fair. I will not argue with that. Sean Payton is not walking through that door anytime soon. But my argument would be to go back to what we just mentioned with the fit with Derek Carr. The offense in Vegas, similar to New Orleans. They think it meshes well. It wasn't a negative in Vegas for him production-wise. It shouldn't be in New Orleans because it hasn't ever been for any other quarterback in more than a decade in New Orleans. It fits what they want to do offensively. If you want to say what he said at the end of the cut, what Christian said at the end of the cut there, that's more than fair, where, he hadn't performed well enough in the big games, in the playoffs, and that's why Vegas wanted to move on. Fine. That's more than fair. That is what a lot of people have mentioned when talking about Derek Carr is, okay, Vegas doesn't think he can get it done anymore. This is his chance to prove that he can in New Orleans. But don't tell me, it dings him that much. Maybe it does in your eyes because so many people are fascinated with the big arm by a quarterback. But I think it fits the current team that he's with. I think he has a better defense in the current team that he had in Las Vegas. I think Derek Carr can have a lot of success. How much success does it translate with the New Orleans Saints? That's another question. But the Saints offense isn't going to struggle with Derek Carr because he only attempts to throw the ball 6.5 yards down the field per completion. The Saints offense is going to struggle going back to what we talked about at the end of last week right here. If they don't stay healthy, if the receiving corps doesn't produce to the level that you think it can, depending on what happens with Alvin Kamara's suspension, and depending on what happens with Pete Carmichael calling plays, quite honestly. We said that at the end of last week. I'm willing to kind of give you a bit of a pass now on last year when you sit back and you look at it, because you had injuries. Now, again, at times it just wasn't good from a flow standpoint either with play calling, but you had injuries to key players, quarterback, two of your receivers you thought you were going to be able to count on in Thomas and Landry. You ended up with just Olave. You had injuries along the offensive line. Okay, fine. But this offseason is mirroring last offseason a lot with what they're saying, with what's coming out of that building, with you think you're going to get Michael Thomas back. Remember last year you thought, Marquez Callaway can be a great option at receiver as well, ancillary to Thomas, to Olave, to Jarvis Landry. This year, that's Rashid Shaheed. It all mirrors everything. So now expectations heightened. Okay, we saw what it was last year, injuries and everything. It wasn't good enough. You want the success week 1 against Tennessee this time out. It's going to have to depend on, can they stay healthy? Can the receivers be what you think they are? And Derek Carr. But it's not just because, he doesn't throw the ball down the field enough. That might be a negative to you in the grand scheme of things. That's not a negative in the New Orleans Saints offense. We'll see how it goes for Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints. There's a lot of questions about that team. And again, rightfully so. But I think they have a chance to, with what they have on the field, they have a chance to overachieve a little bit from expectation. What's going to hold them back, and why ultimately I don't think they do, is the leadership on the sideline. We're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. We have some kickoff times announced for LSU week 2 and week 3. we will tell you about them. Although based on things I've seen on Twitter, some of you already know and aren't happy about one of them. We'll go around the SEC as well. Plenty more to come. Wednesday edition of AFR presented by Pluckers. Musso in for Moscona. Don't you move.
AFR.
Buying or selling commercial or residential, call Darren James and get your home sold. A lot of people think, you know what, I'm just going to do the for sale by owner route. Save the commissions. Well, a couple things. Number one, commissions are negotiable. If you're not aware of that, no matter who you hire to be your realtor, commissions are negotiable. So negotiate commissions. Darren encourages that, by the way. Also, 73%, nearly 3 out of 4 people that list their home for sale by owner end up hiring a realtor for a variety of reasons. Maybe it's not exactly sure how to price your home. Maybe you just can't be home for the showings at all times. That's why you got to hire Darren James. On the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1% of realtors in America. Why would you hire anyone other than the best? You wouldn't. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think Darren James.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on all new 22 Ford F-150 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home, live Baton
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Pluckers Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Remind you about South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. That's southpointvw.com. Get on by, test drive any of their line of vehicles over at South Point. Remember, I tell you all the time, 9 different IIHS top safety picks. It's the highest safety designation a vehicle can get. It's one of the reasons I love driving my Volkswagen, is I know every time I put Drew in his car seat and I'm driving, I'm in one of the safest vehicles on the road. Erica drives a Volkswagen. Every time she leaves the house in her car, I know she's driving one of the safest vehicles on the road. And by the way, they're stylish and affordable and fun to drive. It's at South Point Volkswagen. Remember, the all-electric, first electric SUV for everyone, the Volkswagen ID4. You can make your reservation right now at southpointvw.com. It's South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
So today around the SEC, a lot of teams released kickoff times for games early in the season. I mean, hell, I think Ole Miss released 4. Georgia released a bunch of Florida, really all around the league. Alabama. LSU was no different, but LSU kept it a little more condensed than other teams around the league. So obviously we know they're kicking off the season in Orlando against Florida State on Sunday before Labor Day. But what we now know is the next 2 weeks. Week 2 against Grambling will be 6:30 p.m. Saturday night in Death Valley. ESPN Plus, SEC Network Plus for that game. Not overly surprising. I mean, I don't think anybody expected anything different from that. I mean, that's LSU's home opener. It's it's not really beholden to a TV network. They're going to be able to just pick the time wherever they want it, and they're going to pick a night game. Is it kind of brutal that LSU's going to play Grambling at night? A little bit. But, that's what it's going to be for LSU. And then the next week, they head to Stark Vegas, Davis Wade Stadium, and they will face Mississippi State at 11 a.m., which, much to the chagrin of many in the comments and the quote tweets, nothing. I don't really know if anything around here just gets vilified and hated more than 11 a.m. kickoffs, home or away. And I'll tell you this, I don't mind them on the road. I don't really mind them in general anymore. And I know how much everybody loves to hear that, right? Oh yeah, the media people, they love just getting off early and things of that nature. Well, yeah, I mean, when you do it all day long, yeah, you do. And it's it's a job still. It's a great job, but it's a job still. You like to leave your job early. Same thing here. But actually, for the away games, there's other reasons. I think it's great for them to just be able to get there, play, and go home. I mean, you're not sitting around in a hotel all day long or anything like that. I mean, you're going to fly in the night before, do your hotel, early morning wake up. I know that can be, not great for the team, right? Eating team meal at 6 a.m. or whatever. But at the same time, do that, play, shower, get packed back up, and leave. I mean, it makes for a very quick trip where really your main focus is the game. And that's all it should be anyway, but it's easier for it to be that case when you get in there and play early. So I'm actually very much in favor of it on the road for LSU. So they'll kick off 11 a.m. in Mississippi State in week number 3, 6:30 p.m. Against Grambling in week 2 in Tiger Stadium. So there you go. 2 night games, 1 day game for LSU. Yesterday we talked about CBS and the primetime window being the week of LSU Alabama, and looked at the schedule. And I mean, as it normally is that week, that is the game, and that'll be another night game for them. We'll see how the rest of the schedule shakes out. But 6:30 against Grambling, 11 a.m. at Mississippi State, week 2, week 3, respectively. All right, let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Vanderbilt baseball, boy, are they joining the arms race when it comes to facilities. Hawkins Field, the Hawk, getting a major renovation. Vanderbilt announcing that today. It's part of their Dare to Grow comprehensive campaign. As part of renovations to Hawkins Field, they will add a second grandstand level, which will feature exclusive opera-style boxes that put fans on top of the action, and a second pillared concourse that creates a Coliseum effect. It will help increase capacity by more than 10%. There's multiple innovative club spaces, including putting seats behind their fake green monster, just the giant green wall that they have out in left field that they stole from Fenway Park. They're going to put seats on top of that, just like they did in Fenway Park in 2023, the original Vanderbilt. But also, they're going to kind of carve out some space behind home plate and create some sunken club-level seats there. How about a 360-degree stadium experience? Fans can just walk around the entire stadium, not have to leave the complex. There'll be what's called a Hawkins Field entry atrium, whatever that's going to be, and a multi-purpose 20,000 square foot building behind right field, providing spaces enhancing for both fan and student athlete experience. Welcome to the top of the stadium experience, the Vanderbilt Commodores in the SEC, becoming just the latest, of course, after the new dude, Swayze Field, Founders Park, the Box, Florida's Ballpark, Kentucky. Vanderbilt's joined the club now as well.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
On Tuesday, redshirt freshman Jordan Anthony, receiver, announced on social media that he will enter the transfer portal with 4 years of eligibility remaining. Played just one season in Lexington. Actually a two-sport star, a four-star recruit and one of the top 75 wide receivers nationally when he per on three when he signed with Kentucky, but played in just 2 games on the gridiron versus Youngstown State and Louisville, but also excels at track and field. Broke the Kentucky freshman record in the 60 meters, moved to number 2 on the all-time Kentucky list when he won the 60-meter dash at a meet in Lubbock in Texas Tech. Also won the under-20 national track 200-meter title with a personal record 20.34 seconds. So someone's getting a two-sport speedster, both football and track and field, as Kentucky freshman Jordan Anthony has entered the transfer portal.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Tennessee guard Josiah Jordan James announced that he will return to Tennessee for a 5th season. James averaged 9 points, 2 assists, and 5 boards per game. Shot 38% from the field since 2019 at Tennessee. He has appeared in 108 games with 87 starts. Was named to the Julius Erving Award watch list and earned preseason All-SEC honors prior to last year.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
South Carolina, Mark Kingston's squad, they're getting set to host a regional this weekend, but they're already looking toward next year. Gamecocks added left-handed outfielder Austin Breling out of the transfer portal from North Florida. Also, so that's where he most recently came from. Began his career at the University of Florida, but last season led the Ospreys in average at 386 and 31, and coupled it with 31 RBI. Here's the big thing. Breling struck out just 20 times in 253 plate appearances. Also walked 36 times, more walks than strikeouts, 3 home runs. He'll have much more than that at South Carolina's high school field. 20 stolen bases in 22 attempts. Gamecocks look like they got a good one. Austin Breling, transfer outfielder from North Florida. That is around the SEC. It is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products every single day here on After Further Review. Couple more thoughts on Vanderbilt's renovations to Hawkins Field. Because I know, obviously, the conversation that's going to start is, hey, LSU, when are you going to renovate Alec Box Stadium? And that is a conversation that has been going on for years, quite honestly. And it's not that they haven't done upgrades to baseball facilities. It just hasn't been to the box. It's been to player facilities and a new weight room and the pitching lab and the hitting facility and all of this and, club and all of those things have been where they focused more of the investment into LSU's baseball program as opposed to the box itself. I mean, the last renovations really to the box are the scoreboards where, they added the one out in right field or they, just enlarged the one in left field. The box does need a renovation. But I think it needs it for reasons other than maybe the norm. I think a lot of people always ask for it for, help improve the atmosphere. The atmosphere at the box comes with winning. I mean, it always has. You had great atmospheres there this year without having, the specialty seating in the outfield or anything like that. I think the renovations to the box in terms of improving fan experience need to be more comfort. That's me. Obviously get the bullpens off the field, and that should be happening here soon. But yeah, I mean, could you improve? I think you could draw some things from what Vanderbilt's doing. You can extend the concourse down the lines if you wanted to. I mean, Vanderbilt's doing that. You can't. You don't have the space. You don't have that's something that can be done, and that improves comfort. That improves a lot of different things. More chairback seating would also obviously be something that many want. But I think you have more opportunity for specialty options, right? Like LSU, they did those specialty seats up on the concourse where you could have the server come to you and things of that nature. That's a good idea, but why not expand the concourse down the lines and actually build, booths for it, like this opera style boxes. That's something that would be awesome. It could elevate the stadium. There are things you can do that make it better without just, changing something in the outfield. I personally think that's a lazy renovation. I think you can take it to the next level like Vanderbilt is doing here. And I like a lot of the things that they're done. I mean, the renderings for this are beautiful. And it's shocking because they really don't have a lot of room where Hawkins Field is either. But I mean, I think if you're looking for renovations for Alex Box Stadium, you mold them more after what Vanderbilt's doing and less after what things that have been done in Arkansas or Starkville or Oxford. I think the way Vanderbilt's going is the way to go. All right, we're going to grab a break. Come back, close out hour number one. The Pelicans are making changes to their medical staff. Does it really matter? We'll talk about it next on AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You know what to do. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, get Gordon and get it done. Do what injured people in Louisiana have done for more than 3 decades. Let Gordon recover the damages for you, him and his amazing team of attorneys, to make sure that you were treated fairly. Get Gordon and get it done. You can always call if you'd rather talk to somebody, 888-8888, 888-8888, or go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. And yes, obviously, we want people who are listening, who have been injured, who need representation to call Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. But I always love telling you also about Gordon the person and about all the great things that Gordon and his firm do in our community. It's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you go check out Gordon's social media, would highly recommend, by the way, you follow Gordon on all the social media platforms. You can see Gordon with Port Allen Elementary School on the final day. You can see more about the G team. It's all there. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you can run the slalom. The cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this Wall Street.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, as we close hour number 1 here, NOLA.com and Times-Picayune last night broke the story, according to sources, that the New Orleans Pelicans are planning to restructure their player care and performance team. That comes obviously after the injury-riddled season in 2022-2023 where, here they have it right here in this article. Zion Williamson and Brenden Ingram, your two best players, combined to miss 90 games last year. Aaron Nelson, when he followed David Griffin from Phoenix to, or I should say, when David Griffin got the job, he hired Aaron Nelson from Phoenix. And he served as the vice president for player performance and care since then. Under Nelson, for what it's worth, according to the article, the Pelicans have finished 7th, 27th, 20th, and 7th in games lost to injury. I'm not overly surprised by this one way or the other. For what it's worth, Willie Green, after the season last year, had this to say. He was asked what the conversations were going to be like in the offseason surrounding the health of the team.
We'll have some honest discussions about the positives in the season and areas that we can improve. It's just where we are. And, some of those conversations will remain private, but I'm sure you guys can look at our team and realize that, there was a point in the season that we were really good, and it was because, for the most part, we were healthy team. And then when we wasn't, what did we look like? And so those are discussions that we'll have and we'll continue to address.
So obviously the discussions were had, and this is what comes out of them. They're going to restructure the player care and performance team. We'll see how that actually goes, what the changes actually are, but it is needed. But it's not the only thing that's needed, right? Look, here's the thing. The frustration is the problem with this. Injuries are going to happen over the course of an 82-game season, and everybody understands that. Everybody knows that. It's how long it's taken the Pelicans to come back from those injuries, whether it was Brenden Ingram, whether it was Zion Williamson missing the final, 45 games of the regular season because of the hamstring, and he has the setback. How can you eliminate the setback? I'm not going to sit here and put that all on the Pelicans medical team. The players have to be held accountable to that as well. But it's pretty clear that Zion and his camp have not been very happy. They've been frustrated with the New Orleans Pelicans and their medical personnel over the last few years. Zion has only played in 114 games since the Pelicans drafted him. That's not enough. So whatever it takes to get that guy on the court more or come back from injuries quicker for you to trust, for him to trust, That needs to happen. And if it is restructuring this, then do it, because Willie Green's right in that cut. We can all see it, right? They were number one in the Western Conference when they were fully healthy. They were damn fun to watch, and they looked like arguably the best team. You could have made an argument that they were the best team in the West when fully healthy. You still have that core. You have to maximize it. This is a way they're going to try to do it. But it's not just on the medical staff. You got to have the buy-in from the guys with it too. Again, injuries aren't the problem. It's the length of time it's taking them to come back from the injuries that has frustrated ownership, fans, and the front office. Hopefully this is the step in the right direction now to remedy that as a unit. And we can get to what we saw first half of the season from the Pelicans on. Take a break. Come back. We're talking Jameis Winston next.
AFR.
Remind you about Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Hey, summer's here. The kids are out of school now, and you got to be thinking, what are we going to do this summer? How about the Traction Summer Baseball League? Registration open right now. They start June the 5th. That's a week from Monday. So, Traction Summer Baseball League. Practice one night a week, game one night a week. That's Mondays and Fridays this summer. Also, Traction Summer Baseball Camps. Registration's open right now. You've got full and half-day options for 8 weeks throughout the summer. You can do, again, full or half-day options, 5 days at a time, week at a time. You want to pick and choose, 1 week here, 1 week there, 2 weeks, whatever. You can do it. Registration right now, open at TractionSports.com. TractionSports.com, where champions are made. This summer, you need your kids to go to camp. Traction's got you covered. TractionSports.com.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring. Wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, or NOLAFlooring.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. 2 juveniles are once again in trouble, accused in a drive-by shooting where more than 15 rounds were fired at a house. When they were caught, investigators found one had 3 different ankle monitors on for crimes committed in other parishes. 2 on one ankle, a third on his right ankle. Tonight, elected officials make a plea to do something about this before someone gets hurt. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. and we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Sports Center. I'm Doug Brown. Game 1 of the NBA Finals tomorrow night in Denver with the Nuggets hosting the Heat. Coverage starts at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ABC TV, and the ESPN app. Now that Bob Myers plans to leave the Warriors, whoever replaces him in the front office will have some important money decisions to make. ESPN's Brian Windhorst.
If they bring Draymond Green back at any reasonable number, with Jordan Poole's new max salary coming onto the books, they are looking at a $500 million-esque payroll when you include the luxury taxes.
Brian Windhorst on Get Up. Tigers outfielder Riley Green will be out indefinitely with a stress fracture in his left leg. He had to leave last night's loss against the Rangers. After a tire flew off the racetrack and damaged a fan's car at the Indy 500, Roger Penske, the owner of the Speedway and the IndyCar Series, is replacing that car. Robin Matthews, a race fan from Indianapolis, will be getting a new ride. She was also given an invitation to kiss the bricks at the finish line Sunday.
It's Wrangler season out there. Open roads, endless horizons. Shop Wrangler.com for new denim styles, made for your next adventure. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
If you
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And welcome back in hour number 2 of After Further Review. Musso in for Moscona. Scones soaking up the rays on the beach on vacation. He will be back with you all on Monday. Grant Lanero, Paul O'Neill along for the ride here today as we enter hour 2 on this Hump Day, Wednesday edition of AFR presented by Pluckers. Great first hour and plenty to get to here as we roll on. We haven't even touched on LSU baseball yet, really, outside of that brief conversation relating to Vanderbilt's stadium renovations. Don't worry. That's coming up in the very next segment. We will talk about how LSU sets up their bullpen for this regional here beginning on Friday. And then also we'll head up to Corvallis, Oregon at 5:15, talk to Brendan Slaughter, of Beaver's Edge, get a preview of the 2 seed in the regional Oregon State. But I did want to start this hour with a little bit more Saints talk. So, Jameis Winston met with the media yesterday after practice at Saints OTAs, and Jameis's journey is just interesting. I mean, can we all agree on that? I don't think anybody's going to dispute that. And it really got interesting once he left Tampa and came to New Orleans, and I don't think it's gone really how any of us thought it would. I mean, did anybody see the injury-riddled seasons? I remember having plenty of people in the camp that this is great. Jameis is going to have a career resurgence under Sean Payton. He's going to be great. He's going to be the franchise quarterback he could be the franchise quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. This is going to work well. And then the other people in the camp were the guy threw 30 interceptions last year. He's, reckless with the football. Yeah, everybody made jokes about him personally and things of that nature, but nobody really said, yeah, the guy's injury prone. He's going to come in and get hurt all the time. And let me be clear. I'm not trying to label Jameis as injury prone. I'm just saying, that wasn't the concern. The concern was the turnovers. So seeing how this has gone adds an intrigue level to it. We all remember how it went down last year, where it started out rough for a half of football. Then in the second half against the Falcons, he looked awesome. You win that game. But after that, obviously, he had injured his foot in that game. Then the broken back happens. He plays a couple games with those injuries. It doesn't go well because the man's got a broken back and he's trying to play quarterback. You bench him. You go with Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton, not good. But they stick with Jameis Winston. And Jameis very publicly voiced displeasure for that. And at that point, everyone assumed, all right, he's out of here. Like, he's leaving. This staff isn't the one that had the vision for him like Sean Payton did. And they've made that clear by when he says he's healthy, he's dressing out for games, they're not putting him in there. And then, to many surprise, Jameis, after the Saints signed Derek Carr, reworks his deal, takes a pay cut, and stays with the New Orleans Saints for the final year of his contract. And I'll be honest, I'm still surprised by that move. And I'm even more surprised by it still hearing what Jameis Winston said yesterday when talking about his future with the Saints and his role, talking about how he still views himself as a starting quarterback in the NFL. That's still the goal. But accompanied with that, just how much he's embraced his current role with the team as the backup, how much he's still bought into the Saints franchise, to all of that through the regime change, through everything that happened last year, he's still all in with the New Orleans Saints. And Jameis Winston yesterday had this to say about his role as the backup to Derek Carr. There you go, yeah, right there.
The best dependability is availability. And the past 3 years or so, I've been banged up.
That was it.
So the leadership, they have to continue to move forward. And I just know when I first got here into this organization that we were going to have, some of the top players, we're going to have some of the best coaches. So in terms of trusting this organization, I just know this organization, especially during the Sean Payton era, has been very successful. And Dennis has basically carried that over because he is built to be a successful head coach. So for me, my accountability is just focusing on my health and being ready when that opportunity presents itself.
It's just strange for him to say in one breath, I'm still a starting quarterback. And again, look, I expect him to say that. We all expect him to say that, right? He's a competitor. If he didn't say that, that'd be a little bit more concerning. But why not go look for your opportunity if that were the case? It just adds another level of intrigue to him restructuring the deal, taking the pay cut and saying, sure, I'll be the backup, knowing that opportunity. The end of that cut right there, focus on my health, wait for the opportunity when it comes and be ready. There's no guarantee that the opportunity comes in New Orleans. And I would argue if you're Jameis Winston, you're in a worse position going into the open market after this year sitting on the bench as the backup all season than you would have been at least with the 10 games you had played for the Saints. The market for him is not going to be massive anyway, but there's no guarantee he gets on the field this year. Now, that's the one half of this. The other half of this is how much I admire Jameis Winston for doing this and how happy I am that he's on the Saints, and I think it's very good for their team. You think back the last few years with the Saints in the quarterback position, there's been a lot of injuries at that spot, whether it was Drew Brees and then Teddy Bridgewater filling in, whether it was Drew Brees again and then Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston filling in, whether it was Trevor Siemian or filling in for Jameis Winston, or last year Andy Dalton filling in for Jameis Winston. What the Saints have done, they've always made sure they've had a capable backup. And Jameis Winston is absolutely a capable backup that has been in this system now for 3 years, has a good understanding of it. And if something does happen to Derek Carr, I feel very comfortable having Jameis Winston go in and lead this Saints team. That part of it is great. I'm ecstatic about that. I'm happy that Jameis Winston decided not to leave this offseason and took the restructured deal and is that bought in for that reason. I think he's more than capable if that opportunity presents himself. I'm just still baffled that there's no guarantee that that opportunity presents itself, and he's still so bought in, especially with the way things were perceived to have gone down last year. But that's where he is, and he seems very content. That's been another thing about Jameis ever since he's gotten here, man. He has always been positive about everything surrounding him and his tenure with the New Orleans Saints, and that's huge for the culture. He's a great leader, and this is an organization that values culture. And if the opportunity does present itself for him to take the reins this year because there is something that happens with Derek Carr, he's more than capable of doing it, and I have the faith in him to do that. More than I would another backup that the Saints would have been left with had he went and sought the open market. We'll see how it goes. It's just a very interesting journey. It's a very interesting story. Jameis Winston and his time in New Orleans, and hearing him speak yesterday, to me, added a little bit more intrigue. We're going to grab a break. We'll come back on the other side. Switch gears. LSU baseball, Tigers. They open up the Baton Rouge Regional this Friday, 2 p.m. against the Tulane Green Wave. How does the bullpen set up for LSU? We'll talk about that next here on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Renaissance Hotel and the Watermark Hotel, two great locations. If you're downtown or in Southtown, our friends at the Watermark and the Renaissance can certainly help make your next event spectacular, whether it's a wedding or an intimate gathering downtown at the Watermark, Baton Rouge's premier luxury hotel, or if you're at the Renaissance for a board meeting. They have elegant, intimate board meetings for a dozen people, or meeting space for up to 500 people in their spacious ballroom. At the Renaissance, they like to say, we're in the business of saying yes. So if it's annual conferences, award banquets, nonprofit school fundraisers, if you're hosting a sports team, a formal cotillion etiquette classes, they do it all at the Renaissance Hotel right there on Bluebonnet. It's the Renaissance Hotel. You can check them out online for reservations or to get more information. It's the Renaissance and the Watermark downtown and Southtown. Check them out at the Renaissance Hotel.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on all new 22 Ford F-150 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Remind you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com with 30 offices across 11 different states. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, rents the products used to weigh and measure. No matter where you are, you can ship your precision measurement devices to Michelli, and they'll calibrate them for you, send them back, or they'll just come to your office, pick them up, and bring them back. They can also do on-site calibration. If you have equipment that can't leave or you don't want it to leave, they can come do on-site calibrations as well with their mobile calibration labs. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, online at Michelli.com. Louisiana-born, Louisiana-owned and operated for 76 years. They've continued to grow, expand their footprint while maintaining that local ownership, local feel, handshake deals, face-to-face sales. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. They're also hiring. Check out the careers tab at Michelli.com. Again, online at Michelli.com, Michelli.com.
LSU opens up play in the Baton Rouge Regional Friday at 2 p.m. versus Tulane. Yesterday, we talked a lot about the Baton Rouge Regional. Talked about the draw for LSU, gave thoughts on that. We talked about the main question that everybody had, right? What does Jay Johnson potentially do with the pitching rotation? Gave you my thoughts on that. Today, I want to keep talking pitching, but I want to talk the bullpen. Not surprisingly, the bullpen has been probably the most talked about part of this LSU baseball team for the majority of the year, but really under a microscope down the stretch, kind of starting with game number 2 at Auburn. And then, games 2 and 3 against Mississippi State were a disaster. They just were. You blew a 2-run lead with 6 outs to get, and then you blew a 9-run lead the next day. That ain't good. What I will say is after that, when you look at the Georgia series, you look at the SEC tournament, I think it's very fair to say that the LSU bullpen has bounced back about as well as you could have wanted them to. Is that fair to say? Can we agree on that? I'm not telling you they're perfect by any stretch of the imagination. No, they're not. It's also college baseball. It's also baseball in general, where perfection doesn't exist. A lot. We'll say that. Sure, a perfect game can happen every now and then, but you get my point. Everybody, it's the cliche, game of failure. Whatever. The bigger thing is the LSU bullpen hasn't had to be perfect or even elite for the majority of this year. They've had to be good enough. And they have been for the large majority of the year. It's as big of a reason as any that you've won 43 games. Yes, the offense has been great, but in tandem, it's worked. Paul Skeens has been great. In tandem, it's worked. Y'all, there's a reason that Ty Floyd is still undefeated, even though not every outing has gone great, because the bullpen has been able to do enough to keep LSU in the game while the offense makes their run and you get him off the hook. That's happened plenty. That's one example. We could go back through many, many other examples this year where the bullpen was either awesome or they were good enough, bend but don't break, and allowed the offense to make a run. It's been a great formula for LSU this year. That formula can get them to Omaha. But I think we've gotten some glimpses of other ways it can happen too from the bullpen over the last 2 weeks. The series at Georgia and the SEC tournament. And that's why I want to talk how it sets up for this regional. LSU, obviously, when you lost Garrett Edwards, you lost Chase Shores, you not only lost your two best relievers on the team, you lost depth in the bullpen. Quality depth in the bullpen. It's the inverse of last year, where LSU was darn good in the pen. Really good. They just kind of tired out towards the end of the year because they were taxed a lot because they had to pitch the majority of the innings. You didn't have the reliability from a starting pitching standpoint that you have had this year, and especially down the stretch, where you now look at Ty Floyd and say, yeah, he's going to go get me 6 innings. You look at Paul Skeens, and he's been phenomenal all year, and you say, that's a really good 1-2 that can eat up the majority of the innings you need, and you don't overtax your bullpen. You look at Thatcher Hurd, you've seen what he's done, both in the bullpen role, extended relief, and in a starting role, and many expect him to get the ball in a starting role potentially at some point this weekend, and you think, okay, you know what? If that guy goes out there, gives you 5 1/3, you feel pretty good. You feel really good. And that was kind of the whole formula coming into this year, right? Everybody thought, oh, they've got the rotation figured out now. You're not going to have to tax the pen. And so far, you haven't. I go down this stat and I look, man, Nate Ackenhausen has thrown 20 2/3 innings on the year. Gavin Guidry's thrown 19 1/3. Griffin Herring, 26 1/3 innings. You know, I mean, Javen Coleman, who many expect to be a huge part of this, is at 12 2/3 innings. Bryce Collins is at 15 2/3. A lot of guys you're going to count on. They should be really, really fresh going into this. And I think you've seen LSU take advantage of that, both at Georgia and in the SEC tournament. And I say that with extended relief. The extended relief's been fantastic, whether it was Thatcher Hurd in the extra inning game, whether it was Gavin Guidry a little bit there down the stretch against the Georgia Bulldogs, Nate Ackenhausen against South Carolina in the SEC tournament, Riley Cooper in the SEC tournament against Arkansas. That is another dimension that I like right now from this bullpen heading into postseason, just in case you don't get the desired result from your starting pitcher. You feel pretty good with the extended relief and their ability to be able to save your pen for later games in a tournament-style format. So, I like that they're fresh. I like the addition of the extended relief. And more so, I like the starting rotation's impact right now on the bullpen. So how do you set it up? Who do you trust the most right now coming out of the LSU bullpen as you set to embark on postseason play? Number one for me has got to be Nate Ackenhausen. Nate Ackenhausen has been really good all year. And I think he looks really strong now from that hamstring injury. Like he's returned to form that he was prior to the injury, where you're able to throw him, the extended relief against Texas, and he shut down the Longhorns and things of that nature. I think he's back there. And look, the stuff is very good. The fastball is good from the left side, but the real equalizer is that breaking ball. That sweeper is just, it's filthy, and it's part of the reason he has a sub 200 batting average against. He's in the zone. That's a plus. Like, I feel really good about giving the ball to Nate Ackenhausen and saying, go get it, big fella. You can do this. The interesting part with Ackenhausen is I think maybe his role is better suited for extended relief, because in the small sample size we've seen from him when he's come back in a weekend, it has not been good. It just hasn't. They used him twice against Alabama. He was good. They used him matchup spot on Saturday. He got the out for you. They pull him. You bring him back Sunday. It just wasn't the same. Gave up 2 earned runs. Gave up 4 runs, 2 of them earned. He's out of there quick. Mississippi State. He was good. Kept the game tied for you. LSU's able to take the lead. It gets away from you later. You're bringing back the next day when you're trying to preserve that 9-run lead, and it's not there. I think actually that was the game with the 4 runs. So flip that. Gave up 2 earned against Bama the second time out. 4 runs, 2 earned against Mississippi State the second time out. It's a small sample size. It's 2 weekends. I get it. But maybe his best role is, hey, Nate, marble game. Paul Skeens goes out there, dominates for 7 innings. Go close out the last 2. Sit your spikes down for the rest of the week. Maybe that's a great role for him. Maybe you do need him twice, and he rises to the occasion. Who knows? But I like him out of the bullpen an awful lot. Probably the guy I trust the most right now. Next would be Gavin Guidry. And I think Gavin Guidry is LSU's leverage guy for this postseason. I really do. That slider's filthy. He can come in, get you a ground ball. He can get you a strikeout with it. You want to bring him in. Of course, he can close the game out for you. But, man, you got the biggest leverage spot of the game in the 6th inning or the 7th inning, and you need outs in a tight one. I trust Gavin Guidry in that spot, mainly because of that slider, because he can come in and get the strikeout or the ground out, like we just mentioned. And he's fresh. 19 1/3 innings. Love what I've seen from him. I'm going to throw Riley Cooper into the category of I trust him. I do. I know the numbers aren't probably what many of us had in mind for Riley Cooper this year, but there's reasons I just trust Cooper. Number one, the coaching staff does. Okay, that goes along, like that carries weight with me. When I can see they trust somebody that much, where he's got 25 appearances on the year, and they just keep throwing him out there time after time after time because he can do it, the rubber arm, that matters. And that trust never wavered. Like, see, that's the thing. Like, it just never has. Number two, he's the grizzled vet, and he's pitched in Omaha on the biggest stage, in the biggest moments on the biggest stage. That matters. He throws strikes. When you look at this LSU pitching staff, and so much of the conversation has been on too many walks, Riley Cooper has walked 14 and 45-plus innings pitched this year. He throws strikes. Give me that guy. You can use him in a variety of different roles. Matchup, extended relief. He's started games for you this year. I trust him a lot. I put him in that category. Then I would move to another tier where it's guys on the cusp of just being, yep, trust him, throw him out there, any situation, he's going to get the job done. And the first pitcher I have there is Griffin Herring. And Griffin Herring's interesting. So after the SEC tournament, really after the Georgia series and then the SEC tournament, after the last 2 weeks, I kind of looked at Griffin Herring and I was like, man, is he starting to hit a freshman wall? You hear that often with pitchers in their first year. It's a different throwing schedule. You're throwing more than you ever have. You're late in the season. It's a longer season than high school. Things like that. Is it happening? Well, when I looked a little deeper into him, I don't think it is. Griffin Herring's got 26 and 2/3 innings pitched this year. He threw 87 innings his final season of high school. He's got plenty in the tank from an inning standpoint left. Now, is the throwing program different for him? Is that stuff maybe starting to catch up to him a little bit? Maybe. But what's more been the issue is walks that weren't the first half of the season for him. In the last month for Griffin Herring, I'll go back to April 28th against Alabama through the Texas A&M game in the SEC tournament on the 26th. That's a month, 28 days. Perfect. He made 6 appearances, pitched 10 innings. 6 appearances, 10 innings. He walked 10 batters in those 10 innings. It's a walk per inning. That's too much. That has to come down. You compare that to the previous, his previous outings where he had pitched 16 1/3 innings and walked just 7 when he was dominant and carving up Arkansas and Tennessee and South Carolina and those teams. He just needs to get back to that. But what led me down this path where I thought, okay, is it the freshman wall in the first place? Was he'd go out for an inning and was awesome. And when they'd stick him back out there for the other, that's where he'd run into trouble. And the Texas A&M game, it happened there in the tournament. It happened at Georgia too. But the A&M game is the perfect example. He threw a 10-pitch 6th inning, 3 up, 3 down, and then goes back out there for the 7th, and that's where the game ends up getting away from LSU. I'll be very interested to see how they manage Griffin Herring. I have a lot of confidence in him to go out there and get the job done. My question is he more used now as a guy, hey, go throw this inning, go sit after that. We'll bring you back and try to maximize the 3 innings we would like to throw you in one outing. We'll try to maximize that over the course of the weekend. We've seen him come back in a weekend one time this year and been great. It was early in the year, non-conference. Other than that, they've really kind of used him extended relief role. Maybe you don't. Maybe you go back to, hey, do your inning, come back. We'll maximize you over the course of a weekend. I would really like that. I think Javen Coleman is in this tier as well of guys that you feel good about and then right on the cusp of being just go out there and do whatever you will. I think they've done great with Coleman, bringing him along throughout the process of bringing him back. The incremental increases to the pitch count, that's been great. I think he's pitched better than his line has indicated the last couple of times out. We talked about it a lot. He was going through that great phase. Could he start to string them together? State in that start, he was great. At Georgia, I thought he pitched way better than his line indicated. The defense let him down multiple times in that outing and ended up chasing him from that game because the pitch count got up. Does he need to get the walks in check a little bit? Yes, that needs to happen. But again, keep in mind, he's made 7 appearances. That's it. And that's after not pitching in 14 months in a competitive game. That does matter. The main question for Coleman is role, because is the pitch count at a point and is the recovery at a point where they're willing to use him twice in a weekend? If not, the best bet for him is long relief for this postseason, which or leverage spot, go get the out for him, kind of like he was able to do against Texas A&M in the tournament. He loaded the bases back up after you'd already lost the lead, but he got 2 punch outs and got you out of it with no further damage. That's showing up big in a leverage spot. The last category I kind of have is guys to eat outs. And I have 3 in here, and we'll go through them quickly because I'm running long on break here. Blake Money. Blake Money has been great at eating outs for LSU this year. 31 and 2/3 innings pitched in 17 appearances. Like, they've been able to really extend him and have him eat outs, steal innings for them. And Blake's been great at that role. Blake Money throws strikes. He's walked 12 in the 31 and 2/3 innings. The problem is the hits get a little excessive and they leave the yard. That's been the problem. But if you have a nice cushion, can Blake Money go steal you outs in this postseason, eat innings for you, which is a very important role, and help save the rest of your pitching? And maybe do you see him put in a spot like you did against Alabama in the regular season where you take a lead, you steal the 7th inning with him, and then are able to turn it over to the back end of your bullpen? He's an out-getter for you this postseason. That's a huge role, and I like him in that role. Bryce Collins is in that role for me as well. I feel like Bryce Collins has been pigeonholed a little bit this year with being the curveball specialist guy, and I don't love that because Bryce Collins throws 4 pitches, and you saw him execute those flawlessly last year, and he was one of your more dominant relievers. This year, it's been a lot of breaking ball, and if he doesn't have it, they've been laying off of it and getting him in the zone with it or getting the fastball in the zone and hammering it. I haven't seen many sliders. You haven't seen many changeups from Bryce Collins. Walks were a big problem for him early. He had that stretch in the middle of the year where he was awesome, and then you turn it over the last couple times, and it's been hits. And I think that's because, again, they're sitting breaking ball, letting it pass, getting him in the zone with the fastball, or forcing the breaking ball up into the zone, and he's just getting wailed on. Bryce Collins is a guy, though, that has the ability, and he's plenty fresh enough to help LSU a lot this postseason. Role will be interesting. Right now, I just kind of have him as, okay, go out there and get outs. And the last guy in that group is Christian Little. And Christian Little's going to pitch for LSU in this postseason. Like, that's going to happen. I just can't see it in a leveraged spot. You can't justify that right now. But can he go steal you some outs with a cushion out there and preserve the rest of your bullpen? Hopefully so. Because, I mean, he's been an intricate part of this. But notice, you didn't see him in the SEC tournament at all. You didn't see Bryce Collins in the SEC tournament at all. Or did you see Blake Money? So it's that's why I have those guys there. It's not that it's a very important role, but that's where they are. I think LSU set up well in the bullpen. I really do. I like what you're going to get from the starters, or what we think you're going to get from the starters, and I like that they're fresh. I think LSU's bullpen has enough in it to be good enough and help them make a run to Omaha. Let's grab a break. Went heavy there. We'll come back. Got some updates on Oregon State's pitching. They have some injuries I want to touch on briefly, and then we'll do overrated or underrated. We're heading up to Corvallis in the next hour to talk Oregon State a little bit more. So plenty more baseball here to come on a Wednesday edition of AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouses.com, Rouses.com. Remember, you can always get to the Rouses website or download the Rouses app. Highly recommend the app as well, because when you get the Rouses app, you can always do curbside to go and pickup options, delivery and pickup options. So you get the Rouses app and you select your groceries, your personal shopper will go pick them out for you. Pull up into one of the designated spots. They bring them out to you. It's so easy. Hey, look, gifts for grads. A lot of you see the graduation pictures everywhere. If you need that graduation card to go with the cash you're sending to the grad, or if you need that cake for the grad, they got it. Or Rouse's gift cards are a great option for grads as well. They're going to be moving out on their own for the first time. Why not give them a Rouse's gift card so they can buy their own groceries with that Rouse's gift card, help them get a jump start. It's at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-7.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. They will always find a way to get you the best possible price for the best possible tires on the road. That's what they do at Shawbills. And when they get you in by selling you the best tires, the cheapest price possible, They're going to treat you like family, and they're going to treat you so good, you're going to keep coming back year after year after year every time you need anything for your vehicle. Tires rotated, oil changed, check engine light on, brakes squeaking, whatever's wrong with your vehicle, bring it to Shawbills. Let them give it the once-over. And you can always schedule online, so it's convenient. ShawBillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you at ShawBillsTire.com. Shop tires online at ShawBillsTire.com. Be sure to ask about the Shawbills credit card as well, because you can save $50 off your first purchase when you use the Shawbills credit card only at Shawbills.
We're going to head up to Corvallis in the next hour at 5:15. Talk to Brenden Slaughter. Get a preview of Oregon State. The Beavers heading down to Baton Rouge as the 2 seed in the Baton Rouge Regional. Did want to pass this along, though, before we got there. Oregon State head coach Mitch Canham yesterday did update some injuries to their starting pitching, and it is not good news for the Oregon State Beavers. They will be without 2 of their starting pitchers this week. Jaron Hunter, who had really occupied the 3rd spot in the rotation, and then Jacob Kamatz, who we talked about yesterday as possibly a guy LSU would see in the winner's bracket game or in the loser's bracket game, God forbid, on Saturday. Both of those guys are out. That leaves Trent Sellers, their ace, as their primary starter. He's going to start game number 1 against Sam Houston. Canham pretty much announced that yesterday. That leaves them, though, with Rhett Larson and A.J. Lattery among the options really to start the regional. For what it's worth, Lattery has 8 starts on the year, an ERA just north of 4. Larson has 5 starts on the year and an ERA of 5.5. Ben Ferrer is another guy that they could start. He started 3 games. He's a guy that Canham mentioned as being available to start, but they like him long relief. They've used him long relief more than anything, and Coach did also kind of mention that's a way he probably stays. We'll let Brenden Slaughter kind of give us a little bit more of the lay of the land on Oregon State, on their pitching plans, how it sets up. But I mean, look, if you're LSU, you're looking at that, knowing you're probably gonna have Paul Skeens going for you game 2, and you're not even gonna have to face a true number 2 potentially from Oregon State. The guy from the number 2 from Sam Houston State has an ERA well north of 5. It's another reason to kind of love the draw. It's college baseball. At this point, everybody's got injuries. LSU's got their own 2 on the mound. Oregon State, though, having to come in here against the offenses they're going to face in this regional, down 2 starting pitchers, that stings. That definitely stings. We'll get another a deeper preview on the Beavers again, as I said, at 5:15 in the next hour. Right now, we're gonna reverse roles here a little bit and do overrated or underrated.
Overrated or underrated?
I personally think he's criminally underrated.
So normally I lob questions at Matt during this, but today Paul O'Neill's going to lob them at me.
Got you, Moose.
What's up, Paul?
What's up?
Not much.
All right, so we know we're a little past your favorite time of day.
Oh, dear.
So we know you probably got the munchies going on right now. Probably thinking about dinner. How do you feel about appetizers? Overrated or underrated?
I love appetizers, but I'd probably say they're properly rated. I mean, I don't always get one when I go to a restaurant. Do you always get an appetizer when you go to a restaurant?
Not always.
Okay, see, exactly. So, I mean, I think there are certain ones that are better than others, but I think appetizers as a whole properly rated. Like, I love cheese fries. I love nachos. Fried cheese, great. Seafood appetizers are always great, like oysters. You get char-grilled oysters or something for an app. That's great, like a half dozen there.
Chips and salsa.
Chips and salsa is elite. Although I'm more of a chips and queso guy, I will say. More of a chips and queso guy, but same concept. So yeah, appetizers, properly rated. Big fan.
All right, we also know that you're a big Daddy fan.
Great movie.
You and Matt quote the movie all day, every day.
That is true.
Adam Sandler, overrated or underrated?
I'll actually say underrated. I'll say underrated because he's versatile, right? I mean, you've seen Adam Sandler do comedy, but it's a lot of different types. Sketch, just movie comedy. He does the songs, those types of comedy in a stand-up show. He is comedy, but I like the versatility in the different ways that Adam Sandler can make me laugh. I'll actually say Adam Sandler underrated, and he's been doing it for a very long time. Love that he gets all his buddies jobs. That's great. I mean, come on, what a guy there. I
think that's the most underrated part.
Yeah.
It's like the same cast in every movie, and it still hits.
Yeah, he always manages to cast himself next to beautiful women. I mean, Adam Sandler, he's kind of got it figured out.
So we all know you're a baseball fan. You go to a lot of games.
Me? Not me.
You have to sit through a lot of long innings.
Yep.
The 7th inning stretch. Overrated or underrated?
7th inning stretch is overrated. Because you can get up and stretch anytime you want in the game. Like, I don't know why you had to designate it as the 7th inning. Okay, fine. Also, first of all, the game's 2/3 of the way over. Wouldn't you have wanted to get up and move a little bit before 2/3 of the game is done? Take me out to the ball game. Great. Love that. Great tradition. Love singing it. You could do that, but I stand up in the middle of the game all the time, like in the middle innings, just to stretch the legs, So 7th inning stretch, overrated.
I agree, but I could do without the song.
You don't like Take Me Out to the Ball Game?
It doesn't do it for me.
Wow. What's up with that, Paul? You just not like to sing in public?
Not really. Not my thing.
Okay.
I got one more for you.
All right, what we got?
We all know you're a big Barbie girl fan. You drop. LSU has their own Barbie girl. The movie's got a new movie coming out.
Yeah.
So Barbie the brand, overrated or underrated?
Probably underrated, considering it survived this long and has been reinvented as much as it has. I think I'd have to go with underrated. I mean, you just mentioned it, the movie coming out. It's still, I don't know, is it still? It's got to be one of the most popular kids' toys still, I would imagine. I don't have that data in front of me, but the longevity. I mean, when did Barbie originate?
Good question.
Barbie. Well, now you type in Barbie, and it's just the film.
1959.
Thank you, Grant. 1959, 2023, they're making a brand new movie about it? Yeah, Barbie, underrated. Underrated.
I agree. That's overrated, underrated.
All right, there we go. How'd you like that, Paul? Yeah?
I like it.
Yeah, it worked a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll have to recycle some of those for Matt, I think, too, because he's not here and he's not listening. So see how many of them he contradicts me on. I think that'd be an interesting, interesting taste test.
Probably all of them.
Test case there, probably. Yeah, I mean he's gonna say Adam Sandler's overrated, probably, or properly rated. I'm a homer in that case, I guess, and I just really like Adam Sandler's comedy. All right, we're gonna grab a break. Come back on the other side. Close out hour number 2. Tigers and the Pros to wrap up hour 2 of AFR next.
AFR.
Love telling you about HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Do business with someone you know. That's us, HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Check us out online. I tell you all the time as well, if you want to email me directly, you can. It's matt@HUDCOroofing.com. I'm happy to help facilitate anything that you may need. Trust me, you don't want me on your roof, but I certainly know the people within our business, our company, that you would love to have on your roof. It's HUDCO Roofing. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. The thing I got to stress, fortified roofing. With a fortified roof, you can save as much as 52% on your homeowner's insurance, depending on who your insurance provider is. As much as 52% you could save on your homeowner's insurance with a fortified roof. You got to learn more about this, y'all. We'd love to explain it to you, how you can save money, how you can protect not only your family, but your home, your belongings on the interior as well. Go to HUDCOroofing.com, click the Fortify tab. If you want to learn more, give us a shout. 364-1007, 364-1007. Or HUDCOroofing.com. Do business with someone you know, HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With Personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this Wall Street.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, final segment here. Hour number 2 of After Further Review on a Wednesday. Tigers in the pros. Second hotkey page, top, purple. There it is.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
We're going to start with last night's action before we get to some of the day baseball today. But Alex Bregman, nice night for the Houston Astros. 2 for 4, his 7th home run of the season. Drove in 2 runs, scored another as well. His second hit of the night was a single. So 2 for 4. We told you yesterday, Bregman kind of turning the corner here as you near. Yeah, I guess we are kind of nearing the halfway point of Major League Baseball. It's already June tomorrow. Up to 240. So solid for Bregman so far. The Cincinnati Reds and Jake Fraley. Fraley last night, 1 for 4 in the ball game, a double, his 8th of the season. Also drove in a run and drew a walk. Fraley continuing a really nice season in the bigs at 252. The final score does not matter in that game, nor does the opponent that the Reds played. Major League Baseball action today. The Detroit Tigers defeated the Texas Rangers 3-2. Alex Lang continues the stellar season that he is having. 1 shutout inning of work, 1 walk, 2 punch-outs, 10 saves now on the year for Lang. The ERA, 1.16. So he's 2-0, now 10 saves, and an ERA of 1.16. Guy's having just an absolutely incredible season. Josh Smith did wear the collar in that ball game for the Rangers, go 0 for 3. Did reach base, drew a walk in the game. Tonight, action in the Major League Baseball. The Philadelphia Phillies, they visit the New York Mets. Aaron Nola will be on the mound for the Phils. 4-3 is Nola on the season, a 4.59 ERA, 68 2/3 innings. Nola's walked 15, struck out 60 on the year. He'll be looking to Get win number 5 against the New York Metropolitans tonight. We will keep you posted on that. Well, actually, I should say we'll give you a recap of Nola's start tomorrow during Tigers in the Pros. But for now, that's this edition of Tigers in the Pros. It's brought to you, as always, by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. Anniversary, birthday, wedding proposal. Yeah, you getting down on one knee anytime soon? If you do, go get the engagement ring from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. The gift in the little red box. You can't ever go wrong with it. It's always, always well received. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. All right, that's going to put 2 hours in the books here on Wednesday when it comes to After Further Review. Got 1 more hour left to go. Brian Kelly, again, spoke yesterday at the spring meetings, talked about expectations. We did that already. He also mentioned a lot about things that are happening. What's Brian Kelly's thoughts on the schedule conversation? What's Brian Kelly's thoughts on NIL? We'll get into that next hour. We'll also head up to Corvallis, talk with Brenden Slaughter, Pluckers Trivia, Otterlocks. Plenty more to come. Hour 3 is next.
AFR.
Always a pleasure to tell you about our friends at the Williamson Eye Center. Check them out online at williamsoneye.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, I mean, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right. And then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first 2 floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center. State-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having. But they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at williamsoneye.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. williamsoneye.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. 2 juveniles are once again in trouble, accused in a drive-by shooting where more than 15 rounds were fired at a house. When they were caught, investigators found one had 3 different ankle monitors on for crimes committed in other parishes. 2 on one ankle, a 3rd on his right ankle. Tonight, elected officials make a plea to do something about this before someone gets hurt. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on all new 22 Ford F-150 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get him now before they go back on back order. Front to back boat service.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
I'm Doug Brown. The Denver Nuggets and Miami Heat have one more day to prep for Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Can the Heat somehow limit the production of Nuggets center Nikola Jokic? Miami coach Eric Spoelstra.
We're going to rely on our fundamentals and who we are. We just try to make it tough on everybody and anybody. Take guys a little bit out of their comfort zone, take away some of the easy things that they're accustomed to getting. But ultimately, it's going to come down to competition. Even if he plays a great game, we got to figure it out.
You can hear more of that interview with Eric Spoelstra during our ESPN radio coverage of Game 1 tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern. The game also on ABC TV and the ESPN app. Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, Adem Bona, withdraws his name from the NBA draft. He'll stay at UCLA for his sophomore season. UConn senior point guard Tristan Newton also withdraws. He'll play a second season for the national champs. And ESPN's Jonathan Givony reports Colorado junior Tristan Da Silva withdraws from the draft. He'll stay with the Buffaloes for another season.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay, and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Come join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour number 3 here on a Wednesday after further review, presented by Pluckers. Musso in for Moscona, Grant Lanero, Paul O'Neill along for the ride as well. 2 hours in the books, and here comes the final hour on this Wednesday. We still have a lot to do. We'll head up to Corvallis in about 12 minutes or so. Talk to Brenden Slaughter of Beavers Edge, get a preview of Oregon State baseball as the Beavs head down to Baton Rouge to the 2 seed in the NCAA regionals this weekend. Pluckers trivia, Otter Locks, still a bunch to get to, but we're going to start the third hour of the show the way we started the show, and that is talking SEC and LSU football and Brian Kelly and some of the comments that he made at SEC spring meetings yesterday when he was on the Paul Feinbaum show, when he was making the rounds in press conferences and things of that nature. So, obviously, look, yesterday we talked with Hester. Hester's at spring meetings this year. Had him on the show, talked about a litany of different topics, and the two that are getting the most publicity, the most headlines, the most conversation drummed up around them, no surprise, the future scheduling model, 8 or 9 games, and NIL. Want to touch on both of those here in this segment. We'll start with the scheduling model. Again, not to get too deep in depth in it, because we did a whole segment on it yesterday and then had Hester come talk about it too. But for what it's worth, the word yesterday out of SEC meetings and really the last few days leading up to it is that the final decision would not, or let me rephrase, the permanent decision would not be made at SEC spring meetings. They'd do their best to come up with a decision, but it wouldn't be permanent for a bunch of different reasons, whether it's the revenue, additional revenue that they'd want for a 9th game from ESPN, whether it is teams worried about college football playoff selection, or having to reschedule games that they already had in the future. A bunch of different things have to be figured out before they can permanently decide 8 or 9 games. So the SEC had really come up with a alternative, if you will, right? A temporary solution to play 8 games next year in 2024, one permanent rival, and then the other 7 rotate. There's more evidence now that that is going to be the case. Brandon Marcello from 247 Sports tweeted earlier today the question, do the SEC ADs have enough information to make a long-term decision on an 8 or 9 game schedule? Then quoted Alabama AD Greg Byrne, simply no. So more evidence, more signs that it's going to lean towards them voting at some point this week on a temporary 8-game model for 2024, one permanent opponent, and the other 7 would rotate on. And then that way they could talk with ESPN more. They could see how it impacts selection in the college football playoff and potentially move to stay with the 8 or move to a 9-game model going forward. I like 9 games. Brian Kelly is on record liking 9 games. Scott Woodward and LSU are on record liking 9 games. Brian Kelly, though, also yesterday when he was on the Paul Feinbaum show, didn't necessarily say which model that was going to be approved, but did have a lot of confidence that a scheduling model would be approved this week.
I think it'll be resolved. I think that there is a desire when you have all the parties here, they recognize that there's an urgency to get something done. So I think by the end of the week with the presidents here, the athletic directors here, coaches, obviously, our commissioners is wanting to get something done. I think you'll see something done by the end of the week.
So, and most likely it will be a temporary 8-game scheduling model for the year 2024 and reevaluate after that. The other topic is one that never goes away, and that's name, image, and likeness. And the SEC, they seem to think they have a plan to curtail it a little bit or bring it all under one umbrella. But everyone seems to think they have a plan with that, whether it's Congress or state legislature, and it just seems to go more and more off the rails, if we're being honest. Everybody wants to fix it. Brian Kelly was asked the question that everybody's asked and that nobody really seems to have the answer to, and that is, Paul Feinbaum asked, how do you kind of bring it under one umbrella, name, image, and likeness?
What's happened here is unintended consequences, right? Everybody saw NIL and felt like if I don't act in my own state, I could be left behind. And so we had legislation in different states that really, put everybody in a position within this footprint of the SEC at a different advantage point. And that's not what the SEC needs nor wants. And so how do you bring everybody back together? Well, you need Congress for that. And so I think that's the next step, is how do we get that? And I think you got to go individually to your own congressional legislative team and really talk about where, if we want national competition and we want to be, the preeminent conference, we got to put the genie back into the bottle.
Okay, a couple things. Number one, you can't put the genie back into the bottle, right? It's Pandora's box. Once you open it, you can't undo what you've done. Unintended consequences. Maybe, but not surprising consequences. Everybody knew this was going to happen, right? It was going to turn into an arms race. That's what it is. And again, good. Like, yes, pay the players, all of that. I don't think anybody's really against, any logical person is really against that notion of this. You'd like it just to be a little bit more uniform. That's what they want. They want it under one umbrella. The problem is this whole issue goes back to when it started, and it's the NCAA's fault, where they drug their feet. They could see it coming down the pike, and they just drug their feet. They wanted Congress to do all the work for them, and the state of California was the first one that said, no, we're not waiting for you. You have until here. And they put a deadline, and they said, if you don't meet the deadline, athletes in our state can profit off their name, image, and likeness. And everybody followed. It's like what Brian Kelly said there. States saw it. Their legislature saw it, said, schools saw it, said, we're going to get left behind if we don't do something about this. And that's what's created this. Now, they still want to go to Congress over and over and over and over and over and over and over again with 3 things, right? And it's not, what they want isn't possible. They want to do it under the guise of amateurism still. They don't want You don't want to have to, have the athletes be employees. They want legal protection. They want the federal bill to preempt state laws. Those three things are never going to happen in one piece, at least in my opinion, in one piece of legislature that you're going to get your way with that. It's just not. So the SEC, while they will be going administrators and coaches to Capitol Hill on June 6th to lobby again for NIL, they also know nothing's probably going to get accomplished. So they're trying to take matters in their own hands. They've come up with their own solution, and that's what Ross Dellinger at Sports Illustrated is reported on today. Delly notes in the article, by the way, in 4 years of this lobbying effort, 8 hearings have been held, and more than a dozen college athlete bills have been introduced in those hearings, and approximately 0 of them have cleared a House or Senate committee. So no, Congress isn't ever going to handle it. And that's where you get to this other part, where the SEC wants to do it themselves. The SEC wants to govern NIL within its conference alone. Get all 12 states that have member institutions involved, get the legislatures on the same page, come up with state laws that mirror each other and are able to enforce it. In theory, sounds great. In theory, doesn't that sound awesome? Because the SEC, you're the leading conference anyway. Okay? I mean, you're the most dominant conference. If you can get everybody on the same page, great. The problem is you're never going to get everybody on the same page. I admire Greg Sankey for thinking he can do this. I have severe doubts, and they grow even more severe when you continue to read Ross's article, where states like Texas and Arkansas have already created new bills again, revamped their NIL legislature again, to where now the SEC can't enforce rules. The SEC can't discipline them. And they're trying to bring NIL into the athletic department in Texas, in Arkansas. Missouri has a bill where if a high school athlete signs with an in-state school, as soon as they sign their letter of intent, before they're even enrolled, they can profit off of NIL deals. Like you see my doubt there. Greg Sankey can say this, and Greg's done a great job as commissioner of getting everybody on the same page. You're never going to be able to do that with this, because they're already, before you're even going for it, they're already saying no. The SEC is not going to be able to. The SEC is not going to be able to govern our NIL in our state. You got an uphill battle if you think that's where it's going. NIL, while I think it's a great thing, it's been unhinged since the start because the NCAA refused to acknowledge that it was happening. And now Pandora's box has been open for the past 4 years, and you've been trying to figure this out. And guess what? You're going to keep trying to figure it out. Maybe one day there'll be a resolution. I don't think it's coming from Congress, and I don't think what Greg Sankey has in mind is going to work either. I don't have the answers. Thankfully, it's not my job, but I can sit here and tell you what I think and that I don't have the answers, because guess what? They don't have the answers either. We'll see what happens. We're going to head up to Corvallis, Oregon, talk Oregon State baseball next on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Give them a buzz today, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Tell you every day to look for the big yellow vans and trucks with a giant clock on the side. You can't miss them, and you'll see a technician that's expertly trained, ready to treat you right, like they did for Regina Bornslater, who sent this 5-star review, said, the air conditioner vent in my room had not been blowing air in 2 years. River City's 1 Hour came out, adjusted something. I got air in my room that day. I'm so thankful. They did a great job. I appreciate River City's 1 Hour Air. Another 5-star Google review for River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. You can get the preseason AC tune-up. If your AC is not keeping up, call River City's 1 Hour Air. Nights, holidays, weekends, they'll never charge you extra to come out. 752-0001.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Tomorrow is the day the NBA Finals get underway, and you can jump in on all the action with the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Here you go. How about this one? New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 bet, just $5 on the NBA Finals, and you will get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's at the DraftKings Sportsbook app with the promo code Baton Rouge. All existing customers, you can take a shot at stepped-up same-game parlays. You gotta opt in. You can get all the details by downloading the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Remember, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. New customers, $5 NBA Finals bet, and get $200 in bonus bets instantly at the DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Opt-in and 10-plus leg required for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Licensing partner Gold Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-253.
All right, Baton Rouge Regional gets underway this Friday, 2 p.m. Central. LSU, the 1 seed, they will take on Tulane. But the 2 seed in that regional is a familiar foe, the Oregon State Beavers. Great baseball program. We welcome in Brenden Slaughter, publisher at Beavers Edge. He is on Twitter at @bslaught. Brenden, we appreciate the time. Good afternoon. How are you?
Doing well, fellas. Thanks for having me on the show. Appreciate it, and looking forward to talking some baseball with you.
Absolutely, man. Look, people are excited around here, obviously, and pretty excited to see Oregon State coming back down. It'll be the first meeting, or potentially, I should say, the first meeting between LSU and the Beavers since 2018. It's Oregon State's first trip down here since 2012. regional. But obviously, look, I kind of want to start with a little bit more broader one because the last time LSU and Oregon State did meet was the Corvallis Regional in 2018, and the legendary Pat Casey was obviously the head coach at Oregon State then. You had the 1 year of Pat Bailey after that, and now you have Mitch Canham. Just how has that transition really been? I mean, you've had the COVID year thrown in there. It's been a lot going from a legend to two coaches in between.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Great question. I mean, obviously 18 was, other than 06 and 07, one of the most special seasons in Oregon State baseball history. I was at Goss Stadium. Remember LSU coming up well. LSU Tiger fans travel extremely well. Remember, I caught up with a few of them up there, and they were just awesome to talk to, and it was a great environment. So, and interestingly enough, I can remember when I was a kid being back in 2012 as well. Great atmosphere down there. I'm not going to get down this time, but I hear you all have a tremendous facilities down there. Definitely on my bucket list for sure. But back to your question, the transition's been interesting. I think obviously Pat Casey caught a few people by surprise when he announced his retirement. I think they went with Pat Bailey for that year because there was a chance that Pat Casey could maybe return if he wanted to. The Beavers then, he then decided not to. The Beavers then pivoted and chose to kind of rebuild their program under, one of their most all-time decorated players in Mitch Canham. His first year was that COVID year. It was a little awkward for a whole bunch of reasons and didn't really get your feet off the ground. 2021, we saw them go to the regionals in fall. Last year, saw them go to the super regionals and come up just a game short against Auburn. So I think the ascension for Mitch Canham has been good. We've seen the progress that we'd like to see. However, definitely the pressure is going to be on here for him to go to Omaha himself, without a doubt.
So how has this season gone so far? I mean, because look, I can look at the regular season record. I can look at the Pac-12 record. I can see all the stats and see that Oregon State, they're a top 10 team by multiple publications, have been in and out of the top 10 all year. It's a program with 3 national titles that we're used to seeing host regionals, be national seeds. How did they get to this point here now where they've had a great year, again in the top 10, but they're a 2 seed in a regional?
Yeah, I think it was a couple things. It was Oregon State's inconsistency early in the season. They dropped a conference series to Washington State. That kind of hurt the RPI a little bit. They were swept by Stanford. Stanford's obviously the class of the Pac-12, but that was 2 straight weeks. And that was after Oregon State had kind of started the season really high and on a hot note. So they kind of had to circle the wagons and kind of get things back on track. They did, took the series against Oregon, took a series against a couple other ranked teams at the time, and were able to kind of finish where they did and end up finishing second in the Pac-12. But I think given what Oregon State lost from last season, you lost Cooper Jerpy, you lost a couple big-time hitters in Jacob Melton and Wade Meckler. I wouldn't say it was a quote-unquote rebuilding year, but it was a bit of a retooling year as far as, kind of guys being shoved into new positions and kind of being asked to do more. So I think that was naturally going to lead to a little bit of, inconsistency, kind of like we've seen at certain points this year. But simply put, Oregon State wasn't consistent enough to host this year. They kind of needed to win the conference tournament to put themselves in that position. They went 0-2 down there. They've dealt with a few injuries on the mound. A couple, starters who started the season as starters won't be available this weekend. So, some injuries, some guys in new positions. But as you mentioned, the fact that Oregon State can still be a top 15, top 10 team in what is a retooling year speaks to the class of the program.
So you mentioned the pitchers, and that's where I was heading next. Obviously, yes, Mitch Canham really kind of announced that yesterday that starting pitcher Jaron Hunter, starting pitcher Jacob Komatz not available. I'm assuming Sellers is going to go game 1 against Sam Houston. How do they build it out after that?
Yeah, if I had to guess, that's right. They pretty much said that Trent Sellers is going to go Friday. If I had to guess for Saturday, I'd say they're probably going to look at Ben Ferrer for Saturday, maybe AJ Lattery, but those would be the 2 guys I would see in the mix there. Again, they've kind of had to retool that starting lineup, with Komatz and Hunter going out. Those were a pair of guys who started, Komatz, started 14 games this year, and Hunter, had some great starts this year as well. So that's a huge loss for Oregon State coming into the tournament. They're going to need some other pitchers to step up, and with some of the, for parlaying, that LSU and Oregon State will both win their respective Friday games. It won't be easy for whoever Oregon State's pitchers are because LSU's got some dudes who can hit the ball really well, and I know Oregon State's mentioned that and mentioned just the offense in general they'll be facing down this weekend. And after their bullpen kind of got lit up, for lack of better terms, in the Pac-12 tournament, they're going to be looking to go out and just be more consistent than they were last time they were out, for sure.
I was going to ask, was that out of character for the Oregon State bullpen this season? So, I mean, looking at the numbers, they looked like they've been pretty consistent all year, but the Pac-12 tournament, as you mentioned, they gave up some runs.
Yeah, I would say for the most part it is out of character. They do have a bit of a younger bullpen, but at the same token, they've been pretty consistent in big-time spots throughout the year. For whatever reason, the Pac-12 tournament just was not, when you're talking about like vibes, it just wasn't great vibes for Oregon State. It kind of seemed like a 2 steps forward, 3 steps back kind of thing where they'd start to get some hits, get some offense, and then, Arizona State, the 2 teams they lost to, would match them stride for stride, and it just kind of felt like they could never, get above board, so to speak. So, yeah, I think it was definitely uncharacteristic, and just when you look at their schedule this year, Oregon State, with the exception of that sweep against Stanford I mentioned, losing a series to Washington State, they've been pretty consistent even after a loss this year. So it definitely was a bit surprising to see them be 0-2 down there.
Brenden Slaughter is our guest publisher, Beavers Edge, covers the Oregon State Beavers, giving us some insight on the 2 seed heading down to Baton Rouge for the regional this weekend. Offense. That's when I look at this regional, I see offense. Obviously, look, we've sat here, covered LSU all year long, and they've been an offensive juggernaut. I look at Sam Houston State, and we've actually gotten a taste of them down here because LSU played them in a tournament non-conference this year. They can swing it. I look at Oregon State, and I mean, I see a deadly offense when you have Travis Bazzana and Garrett Forrester and Jacob Krieg and other guys. What does Oregon State's offense do best?
Yeah, that's a great question. I want to say they put pressure on you because Oregon State from the walks, right? So I think Oregon State, if I looked at the stat the other day, I'm pretty sure that they lead the Pac-12 in walks. Garrett Forrester and Travis Bazzana are 2 guys who I believe are number 1 and number 2 in the Pac-12 in walks. And that's what they do. They make you grind out everything. They make you earn from everything from, the perspective of they're going to fight off a lot of pitches. They're going to make you really pitch to them, and they're patient. They can fight off and foul off a bunch of pitches, and they're amongst the best in the conference at walks. And I think once Oregon State then gets guys on, they do a good job of, mixing up, particular hit and run situations, stealing. Travis Bazzana, you mentioned him. He leads the Pac-12 in stolen bases on the year. He's got some wheels out there too. And then more than anything, I think it's just the depth of the hitting that's impressive to me too. You mentioned some guys, they've got about half a dozen guys that are hitting over 300, a couple guys that are right there with them. And more than anything, I think it's just how deep, the lineup is a little young. There are some guys who are, freshmen and sophomores, but I think, there are some guys who have really earned their stripes this year and can hit the ball well. I mean, if there was one thing that was working extremely well for the Beavers Pac-12 tournament last week, it was still the offense, which, scored, quite a few number of runs. So I think if you were to ask Oregon State what their goal is coming in this weekend, it's keep hitting the ball the way that they've been hitting and then tighten things up on the mound.
That was going to be my next question is Oregon State. I mean, look, we kind of talked about it at the top of the interview. They're not coming down here to just be here. Like Oregon State is coming down here to win this regional. It's a very proud program that's had a lot of success, much like LSU. For Oregon State to come down here and win it, how does it look?
Yeah, I think for Oregon State to do that, they're going to need to not only play good against Sam Houston to advance to the game against LSU, obviously. Then I think Oregon State's going to need to get a little bit of luck, and they're going to need to play some of their best, baseball this season. And that's only because I think LSU's got, one of the best, if not the best pitcher, in the country based on what I've seen. See him projected to go pretty darn high in the draft in Paul Skeens. So, I mean, I think Oregon State would have to find success hitting the ball against him, which is no easy feat. And then concurrently, LSU's got a couple dudes that can really, really hit the baseball incredibly well. And Dylan Cruz and Tommy White, those are guys that they've even mentioned this week, kind of looking ahead to the game. So I think if they can keep those guys at bay and somehow make their way into the driver's seat, win that game Saturday and, force LSU to beat them twice, that would be how they would do it. But make no mistake, LSU's a tremendous opponent for Oregon State, and I know they have a healthy amount of respect for what the Tigers bring to the table, and a team that was dominant at times this year. So it won't be easy, but Oregon State will certainly come in. They'll come in confident.
He is Brenden Slaughter, again, publisher at Beaver's Edge. I'll follow him on Twitter at B_Slot. He'll be plugged in this weekend, I'm sure. Enjoy the baseball, Brenden. We appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, fellas. Appreciate it, and enjoy the games as well. Absolutely.
That is Brenden Slaughter, publisher at Beaver's Edge. Follow him on Twitter again at B_Slot. It is, it's interesting, man. Oregon State, you look at this regional, you just see offense, and they are a very balanced offense. And I mean, when you look at a team that can put pressure, when I asked him that, I was hoping he'd mention the walks, and it was the first thing out of his mouth, because Travis Bazzana's got 59 walks on the year. More walks than strikeouts. Garrett Forrester has more walks than strikeouts. 56 walks on the year, and you have two other guys over 30. It's Oregon State has drawn 355 walks as a club this year. LSU at times has obviously had struggles finding the strike zone. So, I mean, that is a massive matchup to watch here if indeed the Beavers and the Tigers do battle. So, balanced offense from Oregon State, very balanced offense from Sam Houston State, very balanced offense from LSU. So that is what you see. Pitching is going to be huge. I will say it. We said it earlier. It's massive that Oregon State's coming in here without two starting pitchers because of the offenses they're going to have to face in order to win this. You heard him there. The bullpen was a little inconsistent in the Pac-12 tournament, which was out of character for them. When we talked about Oregon State yesterday, I mentioned the one thing that is a strength for them is their bullpen. I mean, you can look down the numbers and just see how good they have been. The depth of this team shows. Oregon State, while they might not be at the level that we've seen them in the past, they are more than capable of coming in here and making problems for Sam Houston State, for LSU, for Tulane, for anybody they run up against here in the Baton Rouge Regional. I'm excited for the matchups, man. Glad. Thank you to Brenden for the insight there on the Beavers. We're trying to link up with a couple guys tomorrow as well. One from Sam Houston State and one from Tulane as well. Get you a full preview of the regional here on AFR. But while I like the draw, and I think most of you like the draw, you get to this point, you're down to 64. Everybody's good. Everybody does something really, really well. And Oregon State's offense as a matchup for LSU's pitching staff is something to definitely keep an eye on because of the free passes. We got to grab a break. Come back on the other side. Pluckers trivia. I guarantee you I won't get any of them wrong today. That's next on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine in or carry out 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. My goodness, there's something going on at Pluckers every night of the week. What more could you possibly want? How about sandwiches? Well, they've got those. What about salads? Pluckers actually has really underrated salads. Giant, gorgeous, fresh salads. You can actually eat healthy at Pluckers. Or you could just binge. Award-winning jumbo chicken wings tossed in your favorite sauce. You want to create your own menu item? Do it. They encourage the creativity. Great sides as well, like the cheese fries, the El Guapo dip, maybe the homemade blue cheese potato chips, holy macaroni, fried pickles. They got it all at Pluckers. Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet, right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. The best place to watch the game, which game? Any game, is at Pluckers, because you can eat wings, drink beer, and watch sports on TV. Remember, at Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home, live Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Remind you about Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com, mold-0usa.com. Tell you every day, kill mold, remove odor, kill dozens of other pathogens. Mold Zero USA. They'll always give you that free estimate. If you want to learn more about the process, I get it. It's different. You have mold people usually are thinking, now we got to cut sheetrock. It's going to be messy. It's going to be intrusive. Nah, with Mold Zero. They come in, they spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. It's easy. It's all hooked up to a truck, all the hoses and everything. They'll pull up, they'll walk in, they'll spray the whole house. The fog will touch everything in the house. You let it dwell, it'll kill the mold, the spores, all of it, and then you just wait for the fog to dissipate. You go right back in your home, your mold-free, clean-smelling home. You want to learn more about the process? Little or no demolition required. You want to learn more what the Army Corps of Engineers has to say? It's all there. mold-0usa.com.
Couple segments to go here on a Wednesday edition of AFR. It's presented by Pluckers, of course. We'll do Pluckers trivia here momentarily because it is trivia night at Pluckers. Both locations at Bluebonnet and Nicholson. 7:30 at Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock at Nicholson for trivia tonight at Pluckers. Get by there. We also have Otter Locks still left to come here. And how about the Otter last night? 3-1 for the Ott Father. See? That's all it takes. Scones up here last week, dogging him, being all negative about the Otter. I said, I'm here to inject the positivity, Otter. That's all. I believe in you. You're my guy. And Otter delivers a 3-1 night last night. We will see what Otter's got for us in store when we wrap up the show in the next segment. See if you can follow that up. I believe. Do you believe? All it takes is a little bit of positivity. Pluckers trivia. I'm terrible at this. And I guarantee you this week, I won't get any of them wrong. Because Paul O'Neill is going to get all of them wrong. We are going to switch roles here again. Grant, if we could. Pluckers trivia. Paul, how are you feeling?
Not good.
Not good. Okay, so we have a theme tonight. Does that make you feel any better?
A little better. A little better.
It's Ladies' Night Trivia.
Not so much. Nope. I'm
okay.
Good.
All right. So each question is either about a woman or the answer is a woman to the question.
Okay.
That's the theme. So Ladies' Night Trivia tonight at Pluckers, both locations, Nicholson and Bluebonnet. 7:30 Bluebonnet, 8 and 8 o'clock at Nicholson. I think I have that right. I hope. Anyway, both locations, Pluckers Trivia. All right, Paul, are you ready?
Let's do it.
What film actress's death was reported on the front page of the debut issue of USA Today?
Yeah, I have no clue.
Not even a guess.
Say it again.
What film actress's death was reported on the front page of the debut issue of USA Today?
I don't even know when USA Today debuted.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
All right.
Grant, friend?
Grant, do you see that buzzer over there on the bottom? It's red on the second hotkey page. It says wrong. Hit that. All right. Do you have an answer, Grant?
Not a good one. I was going to go way in the past and say like Marilyn Monroe because I think it's real old, but I have no idea.
That is also wrong. But at least you hazard a guess. The answer is Grace Kelly.
I don't know who it is.
I don't either. I'd imagine she's pretty old, though. I mean, we could Google it, but I don't, I'm not sure. Can't name one Grace Kelly movie. Not one. Grace Kelly died in 1982. Not too long ago. So USA Today, not that,
before my time.
Not that long.
But,
She was
yeah.
born in 1929. Okay, interesting. So that's your answer there. All right, question 2, Paul. Here we go. Rejected for financing reasons, a 1937 congressional bill proposed adding what woman to Mount Rushmore?
Again, the 30s were a little before my time. It's not an actress. It's just
Not an actress,
just a
no.
woman.
Yeah, a pretty famous woman. She would not have been my guess, but I mean, a pretty famous woman.
We'll go with Rosa Parks.
Incorrect. No, not Rosa Parks. Grant, do you have a guess?
I was going to say Harriet Tubman.
Not Harriet Tubman. It was Susan B. Anthony.
That would have been my second guess.
Susan B. Anthony.
I almost went with that, but
Yep. Okay, Paul, you might get this one. Maybe. You have a little
not.
girl. You have a little girl. I don't know if Opal is watching this show yet, but maybe.
Tunes in every day. What are you talking about?
What is Dora the Explorer's last name?
Yeah, we haven't reached Dora the Explorer yet. I know a lot of Paw Patrol, Bubble Guppies. Not too much Dora the Explorer. We'll go Hernandez.
That is incorrect. Grant, you want to save the producer booth over there?
I have no idea. I thought I was going to have something when you said Dora the Explorer. And then you said last name, and I was like, I didn't even know she had a last name.
Yeah, I thought it was the Explorer, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean,
really.
that's what she's always been called. I thought that was her last name.
Imagine it's just like Smith.
It is not Smith. It is not Smith. Marquez. Dora Marquez. Dora the Explorer Marquez. Well,
I was in the neighborhood.
You were in the neighborhood. You were in the neighborhood. It's not so easy over there, is it, Paulie? Just be on the hot seat every week come Wednesday at 4:45. Or 4:30, I guess, technically, is when we do that.
I'll cut you a little slack.
5:30.
Those are a little difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because you want to get it, and you feel so. Actually, I never feel confident going into it, really. But yeah, it's not as easy as it looks.
No.
But anyway, go to Pluckers tonight. Both locations, trivia, ladies' night trivia, and do better than we do on this show every day, or every Wednesday, I should say, because we're not good. This is one thing I'm glad we haven't kept a running tally of, just to see actually how bad we've been at, what the win percentage is. It wouldn't be good.
It can't be very high.
I've got a lot of 0 for 3s in
You're in the 200s maybe.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. So we'll try to do better next week, as we do every time, and see. Probably won't happen, but maybe. Right now, we're going to take our final break of a Wednesday show. Come back, wrap it up with Otter Locks. Otter coming off a 3-1 night. Looking to hand out more winners. Otter Locks is next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by New Orleans Flooring. Online at nolaflooring.com. 2 locations. Metairie and, of course, Airline Highway in Prairieville. If you're going south on Airline in Prairieville, you pass the Walmart, look to the right. You can't miss it. It's New Orleans Flooring. Go to nolaflooring.com, nolaflooring.com. The thing that really sets them up, look, they've got amazing people. You can go see Terrell. You can go see Big Sean. Great people there. They got everyday low prices. You can get the free in-home estimate. They got the mobile showroom. You can get inspired there on the website. It's a great resource to go to. Financing is available. But what sets them apart more than anything is they cut out the middleman. Because they have more than 1 million square foot of product in stock, they cut out the middleman, and they can give you the best price. I mean, you're talking about saving 40, 50, 60% on flooring. Go where the pros go. Go to New Orleans Flooring. That's nolaflooring.com. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, and online at nolaflooring.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets with a hood to swallow on me. Bullets to follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this Wall Street.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Presented by Plucker's Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Final segment here on a Wednesday edition of After Further Review. We're going to wrap it up the same way we wrap it up every single day. That is with Otterlocks.
Otterlocks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
And we welcome in Jimmy Ott, the Ott father, coming off a 3-1 night yesterday in Major League Baseball. I told you, Otter, Moscona's here, just negativity. Here I come with the power of positivity, and we got a 3-1 night. How are we doing, Otter?
Positivity is awful, You know, keep the curmudgeons away. Let him go recharge the batteries on the beach wherever he is. It's all right. It's all right. We're grinding. Very good. Now, how about of all teams to kill our perfect night last night, the Oakland A's?
I know.
Walk-off fashion. Got you a couple of totals to start off with tonight. Goes in about 20 minutes in Fenway Park. You know about that park, huh? I mean, it's hitting friendly. Weather is warming up in Boston. They scored 17 runs last night. Two struggling pitchers in Paxton and Weaver tonight. So I'll look for more of the same. A slugfest tonight between Boston and Cincinnati. Go over the 10.5. It's going to be an unpopular pick around here. I'm going with another over in Citi Field in the Mets-Phillies game. Aaron Nola is. You know, look, this has got a long way to go, but he's got some work to do this year. He's in several pitching categories, FIP, ERA. You know, he is at his career worst. So, 4.6 ERA. The whip is more than respectable at 1.12. But against Carlos Carrasco tonight, who has struggled a lot, it's just. I'm looking at over 9 runs with the Mets, Philadelphia. It was pitchers duel last night, but not the case tonight. I'm looking for a lot of runs between the Mets and the Phillies, and looking for Seattle tonight to avoid the sweep. Kirby's $1.35 against Schmidt. Schmidt has really struggled for the Yankees. Kirby's been outstanding. Now, I am a little concerned that Kirby is coming off of his worst effort of the season. He got rocked by, of all teams, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, the Pirates finished off a 2 out of 3 series win against Red Hot San Francisco this afternoon, but still, it has me a little concerned, but 51 strikeouts, only 6 walks on the season. We're going to take the larger sample size and think that last time out against the Pirates was the outlier. We're taking Seattle and Kirby laying $1.35.
Otter, we got about 2 minutes left. Do you have any early thoughts on the NBA Finals? Those get started tomorrow.
Starts tomorrow. Man, everybody's on Denver. This Miami team, all they do is, they take on more talented teams, and they seem to take care of them. Denver's really good. They're mature. Jokic has proven that he's the best player in the world. Forget the regular season MVP vote, but he's made up. He's he's got a big cushion to be before they tip it off tomorrow night in Denver for the final MVP. It's going to take a lot. What's got like $3, $3.50 on him to win the MVP? So I'm looking at I'm looking for maybe this thing to go 6. That's a nice price. Denver in 6. I know they would have to do that on the road, but that's okay to clinch it. And because Denver in 5 is the shortest price on the board, so trying to look to get a little bit better of a price. Hey man, Miami's been a little bit more competitive. They have been way more competitive than anybody's thought all season long. So I think they're going to be more competitive. We'll look at that one tomorrow night as well. I got a little pick for you too. At a good price in one of the regionals. Clemson, man.
Let's give it to me.
Clemson Tigers are plus money to win their regional. Tennessee is actually more of a Tennessee is a shorter price to win the whole thing than Clemson. And Clemson, this is all as of late. They've won 20 of 21 in conference, including 4 in a row in the ACC tournament by an average of 6 runs. You throw in 2 wins against Coastal Carolina along with that. They're red hot, man. And so they're playing at home. I like Clemson to come out of that regional at plus price.
Otter, we appreciate it and place that bet. I'm with you. I like Eric Bakich. We'll talk tomorrow. Otter Locks.
Okay, buddy. See you.
Absolutely. That's Jimmy Ott. Y'all catch him and Hanny tomorrow, 11 to 1, live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. We'll be back tomorrow. Grant, thank you. Paul, thank you. AFR out.
AFR.
The Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. 2 great locations, Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette. I tell you every day about hormone replacement therapy. But remember, they also have medical-grade supplements. So, about a year ago when I went for my blood labs, we noticed my cholesterol was elevated a little bit. Well, I didn't need to be on cholesterol medicine. It was just one of those things where at 40 years old, they said, hey, we need to start taking a look at that. Look, why don't we try a supplement? So we tried Coritin. So I started taking Coritin as part of my daily regimen, and that, a little bit of weight loss, and my cholesterol has come back to normal, healthy levels. So things like that, catching things early and safely supplementing you to get you to healthy levels is all about maintaining a healthy body, a healthy lifestyle, a healthy body composition as well. It's at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online, theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at Front to Back Boat Service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front to Back Boat Service.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area